Yeah, good stuff. Have you heard about this about James Gunn and Craig Gillespie? Have you heard about this?
I've heard a little bit of the story. After the movie came out, Gillespie pretty much credited James Gunn for like the final say on the needle drop in the third act of Supergirl.
So apparently they were maybe beefing with this movie here. The Hollywood Reporter is reporting. So let me show this a little bit here. So it says film wrapped in May 2025 and early
Uh-huh.
as the fall of that year, the studio and Gillespie knew the movie wasn't working. After a December test screening proved to be just okay, the studio decided to take matters into its own hands and took charge of the post production to make its own cut. Gunn also enlisted writer Jeremy Slater. Do you know him? Who previously wrote
Yeah. He's written on Moon Knight. He's written on Doom Patrol. A lot of great stuff.
I do love Doom Patrol, who previously wrote an unmanned feature based on DC superhero team The Authority to help with post production process. The extent of Slater's involvement is unclear, although it seems he helped write scenes for a 9-day shoot of additional photography. Original screenwriter Anna Nagaria remained involved in the post production process as well. One
Mhm,
issue at play was this climactic fight, which was reconfigured.
mhm,
And it says here other issues with the movie are unclear, but it is known that the music was a key friction point. From the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie on, Gunn established himself as the master of the movie soundtrack and the all important needle drop, earning praise for finding the right song and dropping it at the right
mhm,
time. Gillespie also has a reputation for melding music to movies, as seen in Corella, his 2021 movie that Disney cast as Corella Deville, as a punk rock rebel in London's fashion scene. Um, it says the movie employed two editors. There was Tatiana S. Regal, Gillespie's longtime post partner, who edited The Lars and the Real Girl, I, Tanya, and Gorilla. And there was Fred Ranskin, Gunn's longtime cutter, who worked on all the Guardians of the Galaxy movies and Gunn's DC series Peacemaker. Raskin is
mhm,
also Quentin Tarantino's go to editor. He was
mhm,
brought on later in the process and proved a key instrument in the studio's slowly heavy hand. It says there were signs that things were getting better. Deep into winter, scores improved and hit the low 70s. However, rather than continue to tinker away on that cut, the studio decided to force a bake-off by creating two cuts, one by Gillespie and one by the studio. It's unclear what major differences emerged, but one source says Gillespie's version was 11 minutes longer and featured more of the villain Krim, played by Matthias Skarhardis. When the two competing tests when the two competing versions tested, the score surprisingly dropped significantly, although
mhm,
the studios inched out of Gillespie's, but only by 2 points, according to sources. Gillespie's version scored strongly on song choices, pacing, and villain, eking out a win, even a middling one. The studio chose its cut as the one to go into theaters. A
mhm.
studio insider says the differences were not particularly pronounced. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's when Gunn announced that he was taking over DC Studios, he kind of had a promise of a lot of the movies are going to be like more director focused. It's going to be like more of their vision for it. And I think what we're now kind of seeing is the real problems when you have that vision, but also the conflict of this is, a major studio. We have, test audiences and producers and, bean counters that we have to keep happy. And I think a little bit of that is, coming into play with the production of Supergirl, because that was another one of the movies that has like, a huge budget, like 200 some million, and isn't as proven a commodity as something like Superman or Gun is. And as much as I've liked Craig Gillespie and I like a lot of his movies, besides maybe Cruella, which also was a COVID movie, I think he doesn't really have a proven box office track record.
Mm. And this is maybe one of the final bits here. It says Gunn and Gillespie had creative differences over the direction of the movie.
Mhm,
Numerous sources tell the Hollywood Reporter, and the film never found its footing in the post-production process. The test scores, which were counted on a scale out of 100 points, never escaped the 60s, according to multiple insiders. Another insider said the movie's top score was 70. They were not creatively aligned, is the polite way of describing things, said one insider. Hmm,
mhm,
interesting. And yeah, like you said, I thought that Gunn was kind of going to be like, okay, getting these people on, picking them. I'm
mhm.
kind of going to let them cook. I'm going to let them do what they want to do, and kind of let them create their own vision. So every
And
project
and
isn't.
now we're kind of seeing that, like, that towing the company line versus, what he may have initially set out to do.
Mm, yeah, and I mean, and with this movie, I think Supergirl. I don't know if it would have benefited. I mean, if a bad
Mhm.
movie is a bad movie, but
Yeah.
maybe the extra time would have helped it because, like, usually with these superhero movies, I was surprised the runtime was only like an hour and
Mhm.
40 something minutes. Instead, usually these superhero movies typically clock in at like 2 hours plus, typically.
Yeah, it was
Um,
like, even looking at the runtime listed on AMC, I was kinda surprised that, wait, an hour, 40 minutes for, Supergirl?
yeah,
That was kind of surprising.
uh,
But
yeah,
it sounds like, whatever was in, Gillespie's original cut of this, it was more time with Matthias Schoenaert as Krem, who already is like the weakest character in the movie, and I don't see how 10 more minutes of screen time for him would have helped.
yeah. I mean, if he's a terrible villain, he's a terrible villain there. I don't know. And then somebody I see some of the replies said, I don't know, feels like Gunn maybe wanted to do more comic book stuff, and then
Hmm.
Gillespie didn't want to do that. Maybe wanted to make it, I don't know, I guess more
Mm.
grounded, I guess.
This
And
is gonna happen when you put, two creatives in a room together. There's, going to be conflict, and part of the business of Hollywood and directing, especially at a major studio level, is you have to find ways to, work with people that you might not agree with creatively. Even like that little behind the scenes clip of David Corenswet and James Gunn kind of having their discussion in on the set of Superman. There's it's kind of heated. It's passionate, sure, but it's an actor having questions about the character and about the scene, which as a director you have to be able to answer those.
mm, yeah. So, I mean, hey, and how's it going there, Melody?
Hmm.
How are you? Good for you to join us there. But yeah, I mean, so that seems like that was part of the reason studio interference. That's always like a big reason why it seems like movies fail a lot is like huge studio interference.
Hmm.
And Craig Gillespie, I mean, his filmography is kind of up and down. I mean, he's
Hmm.
got some movies that go like, okay, that's really good, and then some other
Yeah,
ones is kind of,
it's like when Gillespie hits, he fucking hits it out of the park. And when he doesn't, the movie's just kind of okay. Like,
you
I
know,
love I, Tonya and I love Cruella, but other movies like a Dumb Money, I think are just okay.
you know, Mr. Woodcock, that was his first
Ugh,
movie.
that was fucking horrible.
And I like his Fright Night remake. I think that's really
Mhm,
good. And yeah, like I say I love I, Tonya. I think I, Tonya is really good. And that really works. But yeah, and then the writer on this movie also, I don't know if she'll continue to work on other stuff. Like you
mhm.
said, she's attached to Wonder Woman and then Teen Titans. I don't know if they go like, yeah, we're just gonna take those from you. And let somebody else kind of come in and do it. But I don't know. Maybe it seems like Gunn was like, I picked wrong. Like, it's like, maybe I shouldn't have let you
And
kind of do this. Yeah.
hey, this is only the second movie of this new cinematic universe. There's, Superman and, a lot of stuff on TV with Creature Commandos and season 2 of Peacemaker. But this is only the second feature film, and at worst, it's all right.
Yeah. Well, it's lost kind of over 100 million possibly
Eh,
with that. So and that's pretty big. And then also with this movie, um, I mean, you're right. I mean, it's the second movie. And I think it really is gonna matter about Man of Tomorrow. Man of
mm,
Tomorrow has to be a real knockout of the park. And I don't know. I mean, do you think that James Gunn is already stretched too thin? Is this like is he also has to do his movies and write his scripts and direct that, and then he has to read all these other scripts for all these other projects and kind of advise that a little bit maybe. I mean, I don't know if he has like a council or is it just him? I mean, is he already kind of stretched too thin
I
to
think
for
I
this?
I think when they initially did the rollout for DC Studios in the announcement, I think they pretty much said that there is a dedicated writers room for that, that are the people that, that review and approve the scripts, and, Gunn and Peter Safran, they have the final say on what goes.
Yeah,
I think that was the case. Don't know if I don't know if that was, officially confirmed or anything. I don't know if I'm just, speaking hearsay.
yeah. But I mean, because if he loved the comic Woman of
Mhm,
Tomorrow and he read the script and then they kill the villain at the end, then it kind of completely goes against what the Woman of Tomorrow book was if you killed
mhm,
him at the end. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he was like, well, this is, I mean, not to say a lot of things aren't going to be a direct translation one to one, but that
mhm,
seems like a big thing at the end. You didn't really get or understand what the ending of
mhm,
the book was about. So, yeah. Um, and then the Clayface is coming up, but Clayface is not
mhm.
connected to the James Gunn DCU. That's
Well,
just
that is in the DC universe. That is confirmed that
okay.
this is the same Clayface that will be in future projects, that is connected to the DCU's Batman.
Ah, okay. So it is connected.
Mhm,
Okay. I thought it was maybe gonna be like that black label type thing
mhm.
they do like
Yes,
with
as far
Joker
as I
and
know, it's connected.
okay.
Because all
Okay.
of the projects have like the DC Studios label, and when and if projects do emerge that aren't going to be connected, they'll be labeled like DC Elseworlds.
Okay. Gotcha. Um, and I don't know, what does this also say about characters like I mean, Clayface is, I guess, kind of like a
Mhm.
C-list character.
Yeah,
Like maybe n
he's a character that's been adapted before in, basically in Batman comics. Every animated series has an adaptation of Clayface. He's been in most of a lot of the direct to video animated films, and of course, popular figure in comics, but he's kind of like that B-list villain for Batman. But I think it's gonna be helped by having the hook of this is also just like a kind of like a horror film, which I feel like always do well, especially when this is coming out in October around the Halloween time. And you can kind of write this off as, yeah, this is just a character study of a guy that lives in this world.
yeah. I always like this scene a lot when he's in, like, the bathtub. I
Oh,
like
yeah,
this
that creeped me the fuck out when I first saw it.
like this scene right here, yeah. It's like boom.
Mhm.
Like that's a good shot right there when they do that. And I know Mike Flanagan wrote it, and
Mhm,
there's somebody else directing it. Um, and then I don't know, some cases was like Supergirl, maybe you shouldn't have maybe did a movie with her because she's kind of
mhm,
an unknown character. And, people know her in relation to Superman, but people don't know her
mhm,
as a character and maybe you should pull back on that. And then, I mean, because we're in this superhero maybe fatigue time,
mhm,
that you can only really do the big characters. But
mm,
I mean, that's kind of boring. Are you just gonna constantly just keep doing Batman and Superman and you know what I mean? All these type of characters. Like, I think if it was really good, if the writing was really good and really
mhm.
strong, I think people would have showed up for Supergirl. And if
Yeah,
they
if
made it more of a traditional origin story to explain her as a character, that you would have done it because we've had C-list characters. I mean, James Gunn did it with Guardians. I mean, that's they were C-list characters, and he made them household names. So it's
heck,
like,
even back in the day when they were first getting started, Iron Man was basically a D-lister before, Marvel Studios made the movie about him.
yeah. Now Iron Man's a big thing. Yeah. So
Mhm,
I mean, you can do that if you again, and I understand that some characters, it's like, like Blue Beetle, for example. People are
mhm,
like, well, this is kind of just like Spider-Man mixed with Iron Man. And then it's like I've seen so many of these movies now that it kind of feels very familiar, like all these other ones. But I think I liked Blue Beetle because it was like, the
yeah.
family aspect of it was
Yeah,
really
there
good.
yeah, there was another angle besides the superhero stuff that you could lean on with the character like Blue Beetle, and, like we're hopefully talk about later this year with Clayface. But with Supergirl, especially with the Woman of Tomorrow comic, I, adore that book, but like I said during our review, I don't know if it's a great introduction to the character for a general audience.
Yeah. I think that was a big thing, and I don't know. And I don't think the movie was really trying to. market itself as like a girl boss movie or anything like that. I don't
No,
think.
no, because
Uh,
girl boss characters are a lot less messy than Kara is in the movie.
yeah, she's definitely not perfect or anything like that or anything. That shit was gross. I'm sorry. Shit is fucking food. That shit was fucking gross, bro. Like what the fuck, man? Damn. Like sharing them cocoa
That's
puffs.
nasty.
And in the movie she does dip that spoon right back into that cereal and then does eat that shit. But yeah. So, but we'll see. I mean, I think yeah, Man Tomorrow and Clayface, and then there's also the Lantern Show, which me and
Mhm,
Sage also talked about too, which is supposed to be really important to the DCU.
mhm.
And see where that kind of goes with that. And if that's bad, oh, that's gonna be also really
It's
rough. Yeah.
oof. Yeah,
But I don't
and
know.
I'm intrigued by lanterns. I imagine that everything that we're seeing in the previews and the trailers, I imagine that's only in like maybe the first two, maybe just the pilot.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it seems like all the trailer footage seems like it's maybe coming from just the first couple episodes.
Mhm.
And people are talking about, man, this doesn't have any color really, and it's kind of dull
It's
looking.
like
And
have a little patience. As far as like trying to market, a Green Lantern show, I kind of can see where they're going with it, especially if you read some of the Earthbound comics on Green Lantern, especially like the Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz run from like the 2010s that I really liked. Um, but I think there's more about the Lantern show that we just haven't seen because, well, the show hasn't come out yet.
mm, yeah, I mean, I don't know how many people pay attention to the shows and everything.
Mhm,
Like, I mean, I don't know how many people really watch like Creature Commandos or anything. I mean, people like that, but how many people really watch that? And
mhm,
then Peacemaker. And then even like Peacemaker season 2 wasn't as strong as season 1. Even though I did like it, but it was kind of like, okay, it's not as strong. So I don't know if he is like getting stretched too thin, doing all these
mhm.
projects, and trying to write and direct all these things and kind of show run them. And that's a lot. So yeah, the gun is jamming, man. It's jamming. It's misfiring, man, right now.
I don't I don't
So
I don't I don't know if I'm ready to write off Gunn's tenure as the DC CEO yet. Like
uh,
if Lanterns is bad, if Clayface is bad, if Man of Tomorrow sucks, then I'll start hitting the nail in the coffin.
yeah, I mean, Man of Tomorrow bombs, and yeah, it's
Oof,
maybe it's
it's
maybe
over.
over. It's done. It's done. But so this was the argument you were talking about right here.
Mhm.
Say that's what it is to be human, that feels like I'm trying to prove it still, as opposed to I really know it.
I think there's a little bit of, I mean,
Okay,
but there's all because
let me try
because
that.
the emotions are always lingering.
But isn't there something that the I felt like shit about myself since the
Who's
recording.
filming it?
came out.
Supergirl?
It's just
Goddamn.
I'm wrong, I'm shit.
Jesus.
Everything's a lie. I'm not who I thought
I think
I
it's
was.
just like
When-
an
when
EPK guy.
is this not the moment where I go, I was wrong to feel that way?
That's exactly where the issue is, right? Because what he didn't tell you was it was wrong to feel that way. There are feelings and there are thoughts. Your feelings about feeling bad are okay. It's not wrong for you to feel that way. You should just, it's not right or wrong anything. None of it is right or wrong. All of it is being vulnerable and being human, being a human being. And in this moment, for you to talk about how it's okay to be vulnerable, you have to be vulnerable, which means showing Lex that your feelings are hurt. In the point when you really shouldn't.
Yeah. So you got that little moment, which was a great moment in the movie. There, that was a really good moment. So yeah. So that was our thoughts, man.
Mhm.
On James Gunn, Craig Gillespie there.